Have them come here.
Yeah.
Tonight?
Greensburg's kind of the midway point.
Oh, gotcha.
We're gonna have introduction music. Bob comes running down. Smoke,
Well, you
fog,
can just add the introduction music.
We can edit it.
Oh.
Edit it.
Come on down!
All right, time to get serious.
Something I say.
Would you like me to do the introduction?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So welcome. We are so glad that you joined us tonight. So we are going to interview our lovely pastors here. We are going to ask them some questions, but before we do that, I would just like to introduce myself if you are not familiar with our church. This is Connect Church. Welcome. As I said, my name is Lauren Yakubowski. I am the worship leader here. This is Zach, and we can't do anything without him because
Amen.
he does everything for us technology-wise. You wouldn't even be watching us right now if it wasn't for him. So this is Zach, and then I will let the pastors introduce themselves.
I'm Jennifer Kirshart. Do you need that anymore?
Jennifer is our associate pastor in charge of pastoral care.
If you can't tell, Zach and Jen are a little nervous about being on this side of the camera.
I wasn't sure
Yeah.
like all what we needed to say.
Yeah, and I am Pastor Dawn Chrishart. I am Jen's mother-in-law, but I'm the senior pastor here at the Valley of Light Ministries, which is part of Connect is part of, and we're happy to do this interview to get to know you a little better and let you get us to know us a little better. And to my right is our new associate, and I'll let him introduce himself.
And that would be me. That's Pastor Bob Penrose, and I am new on board about, 4 months, 5 months in. So, and getting excited about what's going to be going on with Connect and where we're headed. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. As Pastor Don said, we're just kind of trying to get the word of Connect out there. We would just really like to ask a few questions. Some of them might be a little goofy, some of them more ministry-based. But we want to get to know you guys, and I think all of our viewers want to get to know you guys and the people from the congregation. So, Zach, would you like to ask our first question to our pastors?
So, first question is going to be, what is your favorite movie? Bob, you want to go first?
That's hard because there's just so many good ones. But I think the one that I always go back to is Remember the Titans. Remember the Titans. It was always a good movie and a good story there. So.
Well, definitely a good choice. Dawn, how about you?
Officer and a Gentleman.
That's a good one. That's a
The
good one.
romantic.
I am the romantic.
That is a good
Well, maybe
movie.
because my husband and I were in the Navy together. We were the first married couple to go in the Navy together, so it was kind of a neat time because that was about the same time we went in, right after we went in service.
Jen, you're next.
Of course, if you romantic, Notebook. The Notebook.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good
I
one,
thought for
too.
sure it would have been a Disney flick.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen The Notebook, so.
Oh,
So
wow.
you
Good
so
choice.
you surprised us.
Yeah.
We expected something different.
You were. I know with Matt, he would have been saying one of the Hallmark Channel ones.
That was my second guess.
So mine would probably be Remember the Titans as well. Good quality movie. Lots of lessons to learn from it.
Who was in that?
What's that?
Who was in that movie?
Denzel Washington
Oh, okay, I remember it now.
was the football coach. It was
Yep.
about the segregation and then pulling the.
Yep, I remember that now. Yep.
Lauren, what about yours?
Oh, I get interviewed too?
Yes.
Okay. I would have to say Narnia would definitely be my favorite
That's a
movie.
good choice.
I love Narnia. Yeah, I've probably watched it 100 times, so.
All right, for the next question, my personal favorite, what is your favorite dad joke? Dawn, we'll let you go first on this one.
I don't have any dad jokes.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say,
I don't have any
one
dad
either.
jokes. We're girls.
Put
We
it in your
don't do
notes.
dad jokes.
Yeah, you can't ask a mom.
What's your
or
favorite
a
mom
wife
joke?
A dad joke.
There's no joking around in motherhood.
Amen.
All right, Zach. So here's one that I use at school. For those of you that don't know, I'm a science teacher, and so the joke is, why do they always invite scientists to parties?
No idea.
Because they're such fun guys.
Oh, that.
I thought that was a
okay,
chef
okay.
joke.
No, it's a science joke.
It's like a dad/teacher joke.
Yes.
I
I
prefer,
get paid. There's royalties on that.
I prefer the, what do you call a dog that does magic? What do you call a dog that does magic?
I don't know.
A Labracadabrador.
That's a cute one. That is a
That's
cute.
definitely dad
I
joke.
can tell you my favorite pastor joke.
What's
Good.
it? Go ahead.
Okay. This guy goes up to do a visitation, and he goes in, and he's visiting with this old lady, and she goes in to visit and make some hot tea for him. And while he's sitting there, there's a bowl of peanuts, and she eats all the peanuts. And the lady comes back and says, listen, I'm really sorry I ate all your peanuts. She goes, that's okay. I just sucked the chocolate off of them.
Oh my goodness.
I love
Okay.
that joke.
That's my favorite pastor joke.
That was a pretty good one. All right, so keeping it light, what is your favorite holiday?
Mine's Christmas.
Yeah, I was going to say mine's
My
Christmas.
my mother used to start decorating before Thanksgiving, and then her tree stayed up until like February. And she did the whole village thing. Her tree was all right. Embarrassing story on me. The reason I did not have girlfriends in high school was because my mother made me walk through the tree farm with a yardstick above my head so that she could tell how high the tree was, and if it was above the yardstick, it was high enough to go in the house. So we usually had like 12-foot Christmas trees.
Wow.
But yeah, it's really hard to look cool in front of the girls
With a
when you're
yardstick?
walking around
Yeah.
like Statue of Liberty. You know.
That's what I was going to say. You probably look like the Statue of Liberty. Oh my. Pastor Dawn, what's your favorite holiday?
I know everyone's going to assume that it's Christmas, but I think it's 4th of July.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
good.
4th of July is family, and it's
Yeah.
not as much work.
Yeah.
And since I became a
true.
pastor, Christmas isn't as enjoyable.
It's more hectic.
It's more hectic, and I'm exhausted, and I don't
Yes. Mm-hmm.
get to be with family at Christmas time. So I think maybe it's 4th of July. It's just in the summer we get to celebrate the holiday. We can family together and just enjoy the day without all the preparation for it.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, mine's Christmas.
Yeah.
Just like growing up, it was a great tradition that we've had. We do the Advent season. That after Sunday, when we get home from church, we have like. That was Kara.
It's a good ringtone.
We'll edit that out.
Sorry,
Hopefully we can edit that one off.
that was Kara. I didn't realize she was. I'll have
Okay.
to call her back hopefully before she goes to bed.
Okay.
Hopefully. Well, anyways, so with the
It's an emergency.
you have to have it. Go.
Jen,
Good.
why don't you go? So those of you that you might as well get to know us. So
Yes, absolutely.
Jen
That's what
has to
we're
go
doing.
get the phone because she's in the her and my son are in the process of adopting a child
Yes.
in Erie, and it's important information that she needs to get in touch with the girl.
Yeah.
And we're just happy that she has the opportunity to do that, and we'll just give her a couple minutes to go, and she'll come back and join us in a minute.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely. That's the best reason to
Yes.
interrupt.
Yes.
And we don't mind that at all.
So hers was Christmas.
Yeah.
Mine would be Thanksgiving probably, just because like lots of good food and it's not too bad of weather yet and
Yeah.
That's all I can
things
say
like
to-
that.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah. Usually the weather cooperates. I would say mine's a toss-up between Thanksgiving and Easter. Thanksgiving because I host and I love to cook, and so I just love to cook those big meals for everybody. But Easter just seems to me like it's just the time to praise. It's the time to celebrate, get together with family, and just go to church on that Sunday morning. And you know, it just seems like it's new. It's a big celebration. It's just I feel like it's just the best reason to get together and to worship. So
It's a good one.
yeah,
It's kind of exciting too because after you have that meal, then you start the Advent season,
very true.
and it's just a kind of a neat start off for everything.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so favorite food.
And she's back.
Favorite food.
Favorite
I'm a
food.
foodie. That's
Oh,
hard.
that's easy for me.
Yeah.
So hard.
Oh, I got two.
Mine's pizza.
Jen, that was easy. She didn't even have to think about that
Yeah.
one.
But pineapple on the pizza, or is that not allowed?
No pineapples.
Come on, are you serious? You're not a pineapple pizza? Oh man. I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
It's
Just kidding,
You
Jen.
you can be my friend.
all,
I guess I need to move to that side of the room. I don't know. For me, boy, I guess if I were to say that there was one meal that I really love to have and enjoy, but I don't get it often, it's sushi. I don't get the chance to get out and get sushi often. I love sushi, but it's so hard. There's such good food.
There is. Yes, we're blessed in this country.
We are. Crab legs, all the way. Crab
Yeah.
legs for me.
Seafood.
Yeah.
Me, I'd probably go with sushi too. I didn't think of sushi
Yeah.
until Bob mentioned it, but definitely good sushi.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I am not a seafood person at all, so that would not be mine. Mine is pizza also, but I'm very picky about it because it has to be pizza that I make from sourdough. So yeah, it's like a very specific pizza. And yes, I do like pineapple on my pizza. So sorry, Jen. Sorry, Pastor Ron.
That's all right.
You know, but
You can
that's
have whatever you
just-
want. That's
I
the best
know.
thing
You
about
can
pizza,
forgive
right?
me.
You can make it for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very true. All right, Zach, you want to read a couple?
What do you like to do during your free time?
There's free time?
I was just going to say that.
That's when I
What's
thought of
that?
this one, I was like, is there free time? Like,
Well, we know what Dawn likes to do.
What do I like to do?
Bike. You like to be
I do.
outside.
That's funny. I do like to bike. I would say camp. Go camping.
Okay.
I like to go to camp and sit around a campfire. It's my absolute favorite thing to do.
Anything gets me outside.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's hiking or biking or camping, whatever, just I love being outside. So that's why I coach track and cross country, so I get to be outside.
I think we need to do a biking trip.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
awesome.
agree.
Now that I'm
Completely.
healed, we can do
Yes,
that.
I agree. I think that would be wonderful. Yep.
Yeah, mine would be, well, camping and reading books and exercising.
mine would probably be woodworking, playing with my 3D printers.
Oh, there you go.
That's cool.
Lauren, how about you?
Free time. Trying to think of what I do in my free time. I would say I definitely love to read, but my husband and I like to go on walks. So we kind of do that every night that we can.
Good.
After dinner, we're gonna just kind of catch up with each other and just go on like a 3-mile walk or something like that. So that would be, yeah, that would be what I do.
That's great marital advice right there.
It is. It is.
Yes.
Yeah. Go for a walk with your husband or wife.
Hold hands.
For sure. Hold hands. Yeah. Talk.
All right, so the final fun question, what does your typical week look like with all the free time that you have?
Let me go first. There's no typical week in ministry.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, what typical?
That makes
week?
sense.
Like,
Now that I'm a full-time pastor, I would say that I used to be bivocational, and I was more regimented, but it seems like there is no typical week. I mean, there's deadlines I have to meet, but every day is just so different. And I get up in the morning, I do my exercises, I do my devotions, I go to one of the many offices we have, do some visitation, make some phone calls, research, read, and get ready for meetings. That's what I do. I get ready for meetings. We get ready for meetings a lot at this parish.
Lots of
some
meetings.
Kind
Yeah.
of meeting that we have to do.
Yeah.
And especially with me, like that's typical. Getting up in the morning and get ready, come here, and then there's usually some kind of meeting going on, or have to think of getting prepared or talking to other people to help get visitations in, and then evenings. It's usually I have something like either a meeting, I go to Toastmasters, or have youth group, or
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, something.
Bob's still bivocational,
Yeah, I'm still
so it's
bivocational,
harder
so-
for him.
I teach 7th grade science. I coach cross country. And then on top of that, there's preparing for sermons and researching for that, getting ready for meetings. And then I'm also taking seminary classes on top of that. So that's why I laughed when I said, oh, we're supposed to have free time.
Yeah.
But
It will
yeah,
come. It will
busy
come.
week.
Yeah.
Busy weeks.
Yes, your free time probably looks a lot different these days.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll look a little different next year, yeah. Absolutely. So what is the hardest part of pastoral ministry?
Okay.
What?
Just stay sitting there.
Yeah.
Just stay sitting there.
Just stay here and
You're
be
okay.
part of our.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The hardest part?
The hardest part, yes.
Making everybody happy and telling the truth.
Yes.
Because it's hard to tell the truth and help people live their best life without them getting angry at you. And I think sometimes that's the hardest. And I have found recently that I've been concentrating on not trying to help people more, and I'm getting more confused. Like I'll forget dates or I'll change dates because oh, that doesn't work for me, and I try to change it to make it accommodating for everybody, and it just can't happen anymore. And I've given up that challenge. Like, just yesterday, I had that revelation. Like, I just can't make a meeting fit for everybody. And, you try to make try to fit everyone's schedule in, and it's just so hard. And I think it's a modern thing for ministry, I think. When we have more than one church on a parish, it's harder to orchestrate lay people. For me, because I was bivocational first, and one of the reasons I went into ministry is I felt laity were left behind, and it's so important for me to make sure that I rearrange our schedules around them, because I want them to feel like they're the most important people in the church, because they're the ones who help grow the church. I mean, we might preach, but they're the ones that do the ministry.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I guess mine kind of goes with that, because I look at ministry kind of through the same viewpoint as I do coaching. And that the challenge there is you see the potential somebody has, whether it's a person in, say, cross country, or in ministry, it can be a person or it can be the church itself. And trying hard to get them to reach the potential that they have.
Yes.
And sometimes you can, it's like I tell my cross-country kids, I can give you the best workouts in the world. I can give you all of the data as to why you should do these things, but unless you're going to put the effort in, I can't do it for you. And I think that's the hardest part, because sometimes you just want to, you just want to jump in and go, you can do this, But sometimes you don't always get the response that you would like to get. And so you sit there and you watch such great potential just kind of sit and fizzle because they're not willing to give it a shot.
Yes.
No, I agree with you there. You can see that they have so much potential and they can do it, and then they're just like, no, I don't think so. And you just want to keep encouraging them and
Yep.
like, come on, do it, just do it. And you just want to like reach your hand out and like do it
Yeah.
for them, like, and it's like, no, come on. There you go.
Yes. And as humans, that's how we learn and grow, and that's tough. So I can understand why that would be a hard part to ministry. But you all have very big hearts, and that would, I'm sure, be part of the reason why you feel the way that you do. And that's not a curse, that's a blessing. So
Well, I just
So-
said it was the hardest. I didn't say it was
Yes,
the worst. I just
right,
said it was
right,
the hardest.
right. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Oh, let's see. Okay, so kind of along those lines, what do you think that church members could do to encourage you all, to encourage their pastors? What would be encouraging for you as a pastor from your church members?
I would say that, our church members do a pretty good job of encouraging us. They support us. They show us a lot of love. I come in today to my office and there's a little Halloween pack hanging on my door.
Good old Gary.
Yep, good old
The
Gary.
best kindergarten teacher ever. I feel like I'm in kindergarten. Every holiday he comes and gives us something.
Yeah.
But I think what would encourage us the most is seeing our people being willing to step outside of their comfort zone, being willing to try something, even though maybe we did it in the past and it didn't work, but maybe we can try it again because it's a different situation, different people. I think for me that would be the biggest encouragement, is watching and seeing our people step beyond their comfort zone and step into ministry in a way they haven't done.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna say of just asking like, what can I do to help? What can we do to help grow? And yeah.
Yeah.
I will even go even a little further because I've been working on this for a while, but to cultivate a culture of invitation. Because our communities aren't communities the way we remember them when we were growing up. And trying to figure out how to reach into the communities a little bit harder. And we don't invite people. Like, we don't gather for
Yes.
dinner. We don't go to our neighbors for dinner as much as we used to. And I think that's coming back around again, that people are searching for that. And so I think it's important that we get ready for that we need to just know that what we have here can help people live a better life and know the value of
Amen.
being a member of church and not be embarrassed by it, but just say, listen, I really like coming to church, and why don't you come with me? Or, and not even stop there, but when they come, take them out to lunch or something, or make sure we follow up, because sometimes we might
Yeah.
give that first invitation, but we really don't build that relationship up. So I think that to be able to get them to be a person who invites.
I think you brought up a very good point there, because our culture has shifted in a direction where we don't feel as comfortable even being together and fellowshipping together as we used to, maybe even, I would say, even 5 to 10 years ago. So at this point, I think you're right. We need to prepare our hearts for that. We need to be prepared to just go out and do what we were meant to do, which is to go out and make disciples of all the nations. That is a command. That is not a request. That's a command from the Lord. But we can do that by spending time together and in our own communities, going out and doing that as well. It doesn't have to be across the world.
Right.
It can be right here,
Right
where
across
we
the
are.
street, right?
Right across the
I
street.
mean, it used
yeah.
to be the mission border was our national boundaries, and
Yes.
now it's the threshold of our houses.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to do that, to be inviting and know that we don't have to go far away, that our country
Absolutely.
is in desperate need of Jesus.
Yes, we really are. I could talk about that for hours. So, but yes, I agree with you 100%. Thank you for sharing that.
Prayer is the first step.
Absolutely.
We
Yes.
have to be prayerful people
Yes.
to get that, to start that communication with God, start to feel that sense of direction from God, and then to empower us to do what we want to do.
Yeah, and to have open hearts, to be willing to do so, and to look past certain aspects and to look at others the way that Jesus looks at others. I think that's an important part of it as well. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. So, we're going to do a fun question again. If you could be anybody in the Bible, any person mentioned in the Bible, who would you be?
Oh my gosh. By choice or by characteristics that I have now?
We're going to say by choice.
Oh, good. So I don't have to be Martha. Okay, good. Let's see.
Oh, wow.
Peter.
Peter. Okay.
Peter's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit of my characteristic also. I have a spontaneity about me. I don't
Yeah.
always take time to think, and I react to things, and I've learned to deal with those things better, but, I want that boldness that Peter had. And the ability, I think what I love best about Peter is even though he denied Jesus, he came back. And I think that story is so powerful for the everyday person because all of us at one point or another have turned away from God. Maybe just a
Absolutely.
little bit
Yes.
or maybe a lot. But to know that even Peter, who was closest to Jesus, walked in his shadow, sat beside him, and still, when push came to shove, said, no, I don't know him. But then he stuck with it anyway, and he came back to know Jesus. And I think that's a lesson for all of us.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I'm gonna go with Peter. Martha is like me, but I'll go with Peter.
You do a great Martha impression, though. You do. The story you tell with Martha, I can't be beat, but yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do that one again.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
She's still thinking.
You're so so much, but I could say probably I'm opposite of Martha.
I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm Mary.
You're a Mary.
You're
yeah.
Mary.
That's what I was thinking. I would choose Mary because I'm more of that lay back, listen, and wanting to gather up to Jesus and, you know, learn rather than being busy and needing to serve.
Love
So,
it.
I think I would be on, the only other person other than Peter that I would, is Paul. And his ability to address the situation the exact way it needs to be addressed.
Yes, yes.
And not pulling any punches, not trying to save people's feelings, but saying, look, this is how it has to be. So I think Paul would be the only, I always thought a funny one to be, I'd love to be Balaam's donkey so that I could run him into the wall and then surprise him when I talk to him, you know. So.
There you go. Wouldn't you have loved to be a fly on the wall then?
Oh.
Just to see the donkey talk?
Yep.
That would've
So I
been-
always dress up for Halloween like the warrior in Deborah who put the stake through the general's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
I think Bob's choice of Paul is accurate because he loves to write. And Paul had a way of writing letters. And I think of the letter to the Thessalonica church and how encouraging he was to those people. And when I first learned about Paul, I just had this huge love-hate relationship with that man. I mean, a lot of people do. But reading some of his letters more closely, I see these encouraging words. And letter writing has gone by the wayside so much. Like when
Yes.
Tom and I were in the Navy, when we went to the boot camp together and we had to write letters. We couldn't see each other. It was 13 days after we got married, and we couldn't talk to each other. So we had to write love letters to each other for that time. And I had to send my letters home, and then they had to be resent to him because we couldn't mail directly to each other. So, I mean, that's a dying art, right?
Yes,
And we don't
absolutely,
write
yeah.
stuff anymore. And there is power in the written word. And when we learn how to do that, I think it's a good thing. Whether you misspell a word, it's your thoughts. You know, just get them on
It is,
paper.
yes.
For ourselves, journaling is a good way to do that. But I know Bob has a talent for writing, and I think that goes with that gift that Paul had. He had a way of writing a letter that was incredible. He also had a way of writing a sentence that never ends.
He did. He did. My English teachers would kill me if I did that. But,
Well,
you
my
know.
English teachers killed me because I did do that.
Yes. Thankfully, they're not being judged by their grammar in
Yes,
the Bible.
yes. My autocorrect
Yes.
wants to change things, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Google underlines a lot when you like quote Paul.
Yes,
and
he
if you
does.
Google doc
Yeah.
it.
It
Yeah.
does.
Aren't we so we are so lazy now because everything's underlined for us.
Yeah.
We don't use our brains so much anymore. I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
So funny story from teaching.
Yes.
I had a kid that was typing a paper for me, and I'm walking around, I'm watching what they're doing, and I look at his paper, and everything's underlined. And I said, you do know that when it's underlined, that means there's a problem, right? He says, oh man, I thought it was cheering me on and giving me all these good colors.
And you just broke his heart when you told
I
him that.
did. I'm
If they're
horrible.
green, it's good. If it's red, it's bad.
Yes, yes, lots of underlines. Oh my goodness. Would you like to ask some more, Zach? Okay. See if you can remember the ones we've already asked.
Okay. What advice would you give someone seeking to become a pastor?
Listen to God, don't listen to man.
Yes. That's a good one.
Listen to God, don't listen to man.
And make sure you do your self-care. That's the
Self-care
hardest
is
one
important.
that
That's a good one, too.
everybody don't like to do, or they don't because they are afraid that if they do self-care that everything else is going to fall apart. No, you need to do self-care.
I think part of that is where I would say is surround yourself with good people, with
Yes.
spiritual people, people who pray for you, people you can be vulnerable with when you're
Yes.
struggling. If there's one thing that we hear about pastor burnout, it's the fact that they feel they don't have anybody to talk to. And you need support, you need friends.
Absolutely.
All right. For our next question, do you ever feel nervous when giving a sermon?
Every time. In 18 years, I have not slept on a Saturday night.
Really? I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
I have never slept Saturday night
Wow.
before I preach.
Yeah, I can say, yeah,
You-
hard time sleeping.
We would have
Saturday
never
night.
guessed. You seem so natural up here, honestly.
I'm the weirdo. I think I've only ever been nervous twice being up speaking. One of those was in Zimbabwe, where I looked down in the front row and there were 3 bishops sitting in the front row, and they had not been to anybody else's presentations if they were there for mine.
Understandable.
That was probably the only
Yeah.
time I was super nervous. I trust that God's going to give me what words he wants to give me, and I don't get nervous about it.
You know, there's been times when I've opened my mouth on stage, and then somebody will quote me later. I'll say, I didn't say that. They said, oh, yes, you did. I said, listen, I manuscript every sermon. Read it. He goes, no, you said it.
Yes, we know you manuscript everyone.
We do, but I know, but whenever Zach is not here, usually I'm the one doing the text. Sorry, guys, that it gets screwed up. But we've noticed with the manuscript that there's times when you go off, and then we're just
If
like,
I walk away from the pulpit, you're in trouble.
yeah, we're just like,
Yes.
There's times I throw my hands up, and I'm just like, she'll
I'll
come
just
back
say, hey,
through
Zach,
later.
I'll come back to you. I'll come
Yeah,
back to you.
exactly.
But,
And then there's me. I don't write a manuscript.
yeah,
Well, Bob
Yes.
handles his own. Bob's
Yeah.
up there with his iPad, and he.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at that. Yeah, it is different. Like, everyone has their different styles of doing
Well,
things.
but I've been a
and
teacher for
yeah,
a long time, so I'm used to being
Very
up in
true.
front and just going with
I-
so, different perspectives.
yeah, I was a shy kid at school that, like, if I had to give a speech, I was sick that day. I'd be sick the next day. I'd be sick the next day.
yeah, I can say that's how I was.
Yeah,
super
that's
shy and
yeah.
like,
So
no.
it's funny when you say that because
Yeah.
it is really the only thing harder I think is picking music. Like when I have to pick music for the other churches
Yeah.
because it's just difficult for me because I think I know the song and then I realize I just don't know that song or they don't know. I'm like, if I know the song, who don't know that doesn't know music. If I know the song, surely everybody knows the song, and then I find out they don't know it.
Welcome to my world.
That's true.
That's the thing, is that they should learn it and know it.
Yeah.
So they should already.
But you know, some people just don't have musical talent like the rest of y'all.
That's true.
I was kicked out of a choir in 8th grade, so
There's nothing
reasons.
wrong with a joyful noise.
I know, thank
There's
God.
That's what it
nothing
says.
wrong
It
with
says
that.
make
Yes.
a joyful noise. It doesn't say it has to be in tune.
Yes.
So I tell people if I sound good
Amen.
at all, it's the Holy Spirit. It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
me.
Hey, we'll take it.
All right. What would you say to your younger self in ministry if you were starting all over again?
That's a good question.
Bet you
I
wish you
wasn't
would've-
young when I went into ministry. Either are you.
No. Well, but there was a calling on my life when I was young. And I mentioned this in last week's sermon. And I think if I would go back, I would tell me at that point not to feel guilty about the choice I made at that time.
Right, right.
Because honestly, I wasn't ready. I needed life experience. I needed to test myself. And honestly, I needed to walk away and come back to realize how important my faith was. So I would tell my younger self, don't feel guilty about the choices that you made because God used them all to get you where you are now. And I wouldn't change that for anything.
That's good.
Jen?
Mine would probably be of being more assertive and not being afraid and just go out and just do it.
And mine would be forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for all the choices that you made that weren't the right choices for Jesus, but he's going to use those to make you accessible to people.
Yeah, that kind of goes along with what Bob said, too.
I heard a good saying, our tests become our testimony and our messes,
Our ministry.
What's that?
Our ministry?
become our ministry.
Yeah,
That's a
And
good
that's
saying.
truth.
yeah.
It's very true.
All right. The last question then. When did you realize you were called into ministry?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if
You can
want-
go first.
Okay, I can go.
Yours is closer memory than
That's true. And I mean, I have shared it in many of my sermons. At least up at my half faith, they know about it. It started actually whenever I went to Camp Cherry Run for the week, and they were talking about being ministers and being in the ministry. And so one of the days they said, if you feel like the call, just stand up, you know. And I wasn't even thinking much of it. And I guess gust of wind or something like was pulling me up, and I was just like, what? So my sister is even next to me, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, this is for ministry. What are you? And I'm just like, I don't know. But that's when I was like, I guess God is calling me into the ministry. But I was just
Yeah.
like, and I was in 7th grade at that time. And I was like, yeah, no. The shy, awkward little girl that doesn't even talk to people? No.
Sometimes he uses that, for his glory. So,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, as I said, I knew that there was a call early in my life, but I didn't follow it. And after my separation and divorce, I kind of walked away from the church for a while because I couldn't understand why, when I was giving so much to the church, God let that happen. And when I finally realized I needed to get back into church, it just so happened that I decided to try out this church, and the new pastor coming in was a friend of mine. And he kind of got a hold of me and said, hey, we're glad you're here. I know your situation, so just sit in the back and, just be a true Methodist. Sit in the back seat, and come to the meals. That's all you need to do.
Yes.
But over time, he started to speak into my life, getting me back involved with Sunday school teaching, and then being a lay leader in the church. And then he said, okay, it's time you and I had a talk. And then once he said that, there was like 8 other people within the next couple of weeks that said, you really should be a pastor. You really should be a pastor. And it was like, all right, I ran from this long enough. It's time.
Yeah,
So, best decision I made.
absolutely. We're so glad you're here.
You are, definitely. My call is similar to Bob's. I was teaching junior high at Lakeside Methodist Church up in Du Bois, and that boot-toting pastor, Dick Burns came in. He's like, Dawn, I was talking to God about you. And I'm like, oh, am I in trouble? He goes, well, God was talking to me about you. And I said, I'm even more trouble because he knows more than you know. He goes, get ready, you're going into ministry. And I called him an old goat. And I've told this story a lot. I said, you're nuts. Like, I don't have my education. I'm a woman. I run my family's business. It was years. It was years that matter of fact, I took a vacation and went out of town because people were speaking into my life like that. I was married to a former Catholic who didn't know about female pastors. So we had this great big book, Why Women in Ministry, that Tom read from cover to cover. And he said, okay, Dawn, I'm ready. And then we went up to Erie, and we sat at a music concert, all-day festival type thing. And different people would sit down beside me, and Tom would go to get a drink or something, and they would start talking to me. And before they get up and leave, they'd say, Dawn, did you ever think about going into ministry? Like, these people had no idea who I was. So afterwards, Tom says, well, what do you think? I said, I think I got to go into ministry. So my goal was to be an associate pastor at my home church in charge of outreach ministry. Can you imagine, right? And so here I am. And when I came down here, I became an associate pastor. And people said,
Yes.
Dawn, how do you feel about taking a demotion? And I said, man, I've worked 12 years to get this promotion. I want to be the associate pastor here, like, and do outreach and do those things that reach into the community. And but I'm blessed because God saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Other people always saw something in me that I remember really well someone saying, Dawn, when are you going to live into the person that people think that you are? And that's
agree.
true for all of us, right?
Yeah.
That people think more highly of us sometimes than we think of ourselves.
Yes.
And I think humility is a good quality. Let me say that first. Humility is a great quality. But I think when God chooses you to use you, there's a fine line between humility and false humility. And we have to identify that. And I'll be
Yes.
honest, I'm about ready to retire, and I just grew into myself. Like, I feel like this year I have grown into what God wanted me to be, and to know that I've helped so many people, especially in this past year, that I feel like God put me in the right place at the right time for the right work. And as hard as all this disaffiliation has been, it has been the most rewarding year of my 18 years of ministry.
Yes, and we've been so blessed to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And for those that are not familiar with kind of Connect's history, we've been here for 7 years, not in this particular building, but we started 7 years ago, and Pastor Don and I were one of the first. And, you know, we've seen it through the ups and through the downs.
Yes,
So
we have. And we're going to see it through the ups again.
we're going to see it through the ups again. Absolutely. So thank you all very much for sharing.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome. And we have one more question to end it, and I think it was appropriate that I ask this because as the worship leader, what is your favorite type of music first of all?
Okay.
And
That's easy.
then what is your favorite song to sing in church? And then maybe why, if you want to share that with us.
See, that's not fair. That is not fair.
I'll
You can
go.
blame
I
this guy right
have a
here.
simple mind. I have a simple answer. So, contemporary Christian
Yes.
is mine.
Okay.
These are the days of Elijah. It's one of my favorite songs to sing in
It's a
in
good one.
church. It just reminds me of the history, but it reminds me of the hope and the joy and the celebration. So for me, that's one that always gives me great joy when we sing it.
Absolutely.
But I like Burn the Ships too. But
You do like Burn the Ships,
I was gonna
yeah.
say. I was
Burn the
surprised
Ships
by
one. That's a good
Burn the
message.
Ships was my theme
The
song.
song for the season.
Yes.
The song for the
Yes.
season, but
There was another one too.
build the ships. I had a whole armada going on.
Yes. Had a whole
So
theme.
King and Country did Burn the Ships,
Yes.
and then Colton Dixon has Build the
Yes.
Boat.
Build the Boat.
And I feel that's the whole story of the Methodist disaffiliation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And where we go to affiliate. So
You also like the rendition of the Lord's Prayer.
I
too.
do like that one too. But see, I
You like
gave you this.
That one is a good one.
It is hard to
Yeah.
choose. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all
There's a lot.
those.
They
I
were all
guess
It's a good
mine
problem to have.
would- Mine would be of Christian music. I always have Family Life Radio on, listening to all that type of music. Mine would probably be. It's hard to choose. I believe.
That's
Okay.
a good one.
It's a good one too. Newsboys?
Yeah.
The Newsboys? Okay.
See, the hard part for me is music has been my background, and I've been a singer all my life, and so I grew up with the old hymns, and so, but I love contemporary music. I like the old hymns because there's a theology there that isn't necessarily found in contemporary worship or contemporary music, but contemporary worship pulls you into a spirit and
Yes.
into a place where you can worship God in a different way. My all-time favorite song, and it's because it was my grandmother's favorite song, The Old Rugged Cross.
Okay.
For me,
Can't beat that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think there's a better song out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's songs that transcend time, right?
is.
And that's one of them,
That's
like
one of them.
Amazing Grace. Like
Yeah,
everyone
right,
just knows
Amazing
those
Grace.
songs, and even if they don't go to church, they know those songs. And there's anointed music out there, right? Some songs don't seem to be as anointed. They're good for a time, a season, and they might not carry over for a generation, but they're good for that time. But there's those diehard songs that
Yep.
we grew up, Blessed Assured, and It's How Great Thou Art.
Yep.
I mean, who can pick any one of those?
It's hard. That's what I said. It was
Things like
hard.
It is very
probably
difficult.
that Near the cross.
Yeah, near the cross. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I like it. We got a mix here, like the older hymns plus the contemporary. I like it. Great. Well, thank you so much for Answering our
You have to
questions.
answer that
Oh, see, I knew you were gonna ask me that. That's
Because
hard.
you're a music person like me, so
I know. I really do enjoy a mix. Obviously, if you've
Yep.
been here or if you've been online, you know that we do a lot of hymns. We do a lot of modern style hymns, a lot of contemporary. Oh goodness. I'm gonna choose two because I like both types of genres. So
We give you two answers.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I would say for my hymn, it would definitely be It Is Well. That's my favorite hymn. It's going to be hard to pick a contemporary song. There's so many good ones. I would, you know what, probably No Longer Slaves.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, because it just reminds me of who I was is not who I am now. And I don't have to be stuck in that place of who I was before I accepted Christ into my life. So I think for sure No Longer Slaves would be my ultimate favorite song. There's just so many to choose from.
Oh, I think we should ask Zach.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Zach,
I
what
think
is
we should-
your
Oh, we'll hand you one.
What's your favorite song, Zach?
Favorite song, probably No Longer Slaves.
Yeah. It's a good one.
As I said, contemporary music really goes to the heart of things and can address the hurts and the needs and the brokenness. Sometimes better than the old hymns do, but the old hymns remind us what we truly believe.
Absolutely.
And that's what-
Yeah.
That's why I could never, it's so hard.
Well, I
That's
think
my problem as
contemporary
well.
music also gives us space to be,
Yes.
where the old hymns you have to work through, especially if you're not a singer.
Some of them, yeah.
But like when the
Yeah.
repetition of some of the new music gives us a moment just to be in God's presence.
Well, and you don't see too many people putting their hands in the air when it comes to singing the old hymns.
Except for me, huh? Except for me.
Which I love. I love that so much that we're not afraid
The first
to
time
do
I did that,
yeah.
my mom yelled at me in church. Said I wasn't allowed to
Well,
do that.
actually, we're going to be singing a new song this week, so it's
good.
called
What is it?
Gratitude, and it's called Gratitude. Yeah, it's gonna.
Well, everyone should
Yes,
come
yes.
and join us to hear. That's a great song.
Yeah, it is a
So-
good song. It's
Yeah.
really
So
good.
with the sermon, with encouragement, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So yeah, you're gonna have to come out to Connector.
Yeah.
Tune in to
5:30
see it.
on Sunday.
I was just gonna put that plug in.
I'm sorry.
No, that's. I'd rather you do
coffee.
it. No, that's fine. Yeah, so join us 5:30 Sunday evenings here at Connect. For now, that's the time in the day that we're keeping our service. So we would love to have you all. Thank you so much
We are in Blairsville,
to everybody.
downtown.
Yes, we are.
There is a Connect south of us, but
Oh,
that's
is
not
there?
us. Yes, in
Oh,
Carolina. I
that's a
think.
good point then.
Yeah, we're in Blairsville,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Blairsville,
If you're on the way,
Pennsylvania, basement of the United Methodist Church.
Well,
Where
we are
else?
now the
Walnut
First
Street?
Methodist
Just
Church.
First, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're not
there's so
United
many.
Methodist
yeah,
anymore.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
all right.
wasn't sure if that was our sign still. So
Yeah.
we're not United Methodist. We're Global Methodist.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure what the name of the church still
Right.
said on the sign. So we're in the basement though. So if you'd like to come out and join us, we would love to have you. We are trying to get back to our roots and get back to our just kind of coffee house style worship service. You come, you can have coffee, tea, whatever you like. Just grab a water, and we just want to worship with you. We just want
come
to
for the
fellowship
coffee,
with you.
stay for the connection.
There you go. What he just said.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for coming out and answering our question. Thank you, Zach, for everything that you do.
Amen.
Because
Amen.
we can't do this, any of this without Zach.
Right.
He's amazing. He didn't want to be up here. We made him because we said we can't do this without you. So,
Yep.
yeah.
We'll
So
interview
we
him
love
another
Zach.
time.
We will.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna have
Ooh,
to
I want to
interview
ask those
Zach.
questions.
Yes.
Turn the table.
All right. Anything to add before we leave?
No.
All right. Awesome. Well, come
God
out and
bless
join us on
everybody.
5:30. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in.
I hope not.
Mine was getting ready to die.
It's still green.
Mine's flashing green.
See, Zach, you did awesome.